Hey everyone, it's Paul of Enclosures. Just here to give you a small update on my tank so far. I guess a little bit under halfway done so far, and I just added the gravel layer to the tank, and I started up the waterfall. It's still working, no kinks, no spills, no drips. I layered it, and I put this small piece of driftwood in. And matches very well with the gravel, along with this Anubias plant, which, as long as the humidity stays up pretty high in the tank, there should be no issues to it growing and continuing to grow. I'm just not sure if it would grow as high as if it was in a completely aquatic environment. I'm thinking that gravity probably has something to do with the size of it. As for the gravel, I just put it high enough that it covers up the bottom of the mesh. As you can see, no spots showing. And soon I'm going to be adding the substrate, which is a combination of cocoa fiber, sphagnum moss, leaves, and small granulated gravel also along with that. On the top layer, this aquarium gravel's bottom layer. Previously mentioned substrate is going to be the second layer, and the top layer is going to be vermiculture, or vermicompost, which is worm castings. Worm poop, basically. It's going to be what's going to keep my plants growing nice and big and strong. Just hope I can keep up with the pruning. And that's what I used for the aquarium. Eco-Complete. Fan of it. The same kind of substrate I use inside my shrimp tanks. And I have here a combination of plants I'm probably going to be using. Some of them I don't know the names, but that one on the end is bromeliad. That one I'm not entirely sure, but it fits the color scheme real well. The lighting's pretty bad in this room right now. But green top, bottom of purple leaves. This plant right here, which is some sort of Dracania, has pink and green. Mikey Busto mentioned what this one was, but I forgot exactly what the scientific name is. And that's a growing ivy, which I'm going to put in the background, which should grow up the back of the tank and cover up a lot of spots. And my last plant is going to be this creeping Jew. I've just been a real fan of this. Despite it's looking like a pothos plant, it's not a vining plant, it's actually a cover plant. So I'm going to be planting it at these top spots that I made. They're actually little planters, and I'll be able to use them to give them a good spot to start off with. Anyway, I'm going to start putting in the substrate now, and then I will make a second video for everyone to see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit. Hey everyone, this is Paul of Enclosures. I wouldn't say finished, but I definitely finished like 90% of the work that I needed to get done. I finished putting the substrate levels on. It combined a little bit, but it created a seamless transition from the water to the land. The land, as I stated before in the previous video, was a layer of cocoa fiber, inert, and then there was some vermicompost, which still had worms in it so that it could help continue to break down any of the nutrients that forms on the top layers of the soil, and then the worms would distribute it throughout. Next layer was another inert layer of topsoil so that I can cover up the worms so they'd be a little bit more comfortable. After that, I started adding the plants. Back there, that's a Dracania, green and purple morph. I'm not sure about the species name. I didn't look up many of these, but I know the general name for a lot of them. That I dug into the background in a planter pot is a wandering Jew. They're in a couple of places throughout the tank. They're a floor covering kind of plant. They don't really vine, that's why I had to put them up in the top corner so that they'll go downwards. Eventually I'll probably see some ground cover, as long as they stay lit. Oh, side note, this is not the permanent light that should be here by tomorrow. This is actually an aquarium light. The reason why the colors are the way they are is because that it kind of doesn't completely stop, but it inhibits algae growth. Lots of algae can't grow in certain colors of light, like red and blue. But they need to add a couple more colors, or otherwise then it'd just be a purple light, and the visibility wouldn't be that great. For the waterfall, I added some Java moss, which is typically only found in aquariums. You can see it running right along the middle of it. Aesthetically, it's quite pleasing, but also it should help to oxygenate the water, along with the fact that the water is hitting the surface, which is forcing oxygen bubbles throughout the tank. I don't have anything in the water. I'm not sure if I'm going to. The only thing I was possibly considering was maybe one ghost shrimp, just one. I don't feel like I could possibly add anything else to that water so shallow. And I don't really think I'd be able to add any additional water because the water spreads out throughout the rocks and I don't want the soil to become too saturated. I put a small piece of driftwood, like I mentioned before, with some anubias. I had a perfect little spot, it's hard to tell with the glare, but a little covel that I was able to plant the anubias into. Oh, I forgot. I was going to look up the name of this plant, but I'll put it in the comment. Mikey Bustos told me what it was, but I forgot. Here we have species of ivy, which is a vining plant, and I put it throughout the tank in the background. It should be growing up along the walls sooner or later. I heard it's a pretty fast growing plant. Here we have a bromeliad. I don't know the species, but I absolutely love the colors, even though it appears that this one stalk snapped off. It snapped off about a month or so ago, and I thought it peeled back up, but I guess not. I'll just tie it up with some fishing line and it should be okay. And then we have back there, I'm not sure what the name of the plant is, but it reminds me of a calathea. It has purple bottoms of the leaves. You can't really tell, but when it grows up, it should be a little bit more noticeable. Only thing that this tank is really missing is moss, but I need to get to work soon, so I really don't have time to be scavenging throughout the forest for it. But so far, this is as far as I've come. Once my good lights come in, which should be tomorrow, it should really light up this tank like a Christmas tree. This is a little bit dim for my taste. Once they come in, I'll give everyone an update on how it looks. And also, I'll be attaching moss before I make the next video. But, thanks for watching, and I'll show you more of this tank when it progresses. And hopefully, it looks even nicer when I get some more plant growth. Thanks, guys, and keep watching. Hey everyone, this is Paul of Emerald Enclosures, just giving you a small update on what I've done with the tank since yesterday. While the lights have not come in, and according to the shipping information, I do not believe they'll be coming in until tomorrow. This Zilla brand hygrometer thermometer did come in. I set it up, I tried to make it inconspicuously attached to the top of the tank, but that really didn't work. I'm guessing the suction cups are only really going to work on the glass. But I put it in the top right hand corner so that it stays out of the way. In terms of progression, I moved that calathea looking plant underneath the waterfall so that it can be seen a little bit better, get a little bit more light, and hopefully do better in the long run. That's where it used to be, in the background, and I feel like even with the new lights that are coming in, it definitely wouldn't have been enough. I went moss hunting yesterday. I'm not really sure on the type of moss, but it grows off of one log that I know for certain. It does well in moist conditions. A lot of temperate moss does not do that well in these types of conditions. They usually die within the first month or so, turning black and then just dying altogether. I grabbed moss that came directly off the log and came without any of the wood. I made a moss mat out of that, moving towards the water. Hopefully it'll keep spreading. And I left it along the side here so that it can get enough light. I did not put any moss underneath the plants just in case they wouldn't be able to grow on their own. If they can, they'll move there eventually. And then the moss that still came with some bark, I put it on top of the wooden structures in the tank, alongside the waterfall, all the way to the top. Also, I added some Java moss for my shrimp tanks. The stream seems to either slow down or just completely dispersed throughout the entire log. And a little bit of mold has started to grow, but that's pretty typical for the acclimation of a new tank. The springtails and the mites are soon going to be cleaning all that up, and then it's going to be a non-issue. The water has gotten a little bit murky, I'm pretty sure, from the substrate. But I'm also pretty sure that's going to settle down soon, and then I'll have crystal clear water again. Yeah, it's not a powerful stream anymore from the waterfall, but it's still very consistent. You can see it there. Tomorrow, according to FedEx, my lights should be getting here, and then you'll really be able to see how beautiful this tank is. Also, I'm going to be heading to an antique store tomorrow so I can hopefully replace this stand, make it look a little bit more presentable. That way it's just not a flip-out table. I also ordered some fans, and I'll be installing them along with that piece of plastic there on the top once I cut that out. But all in all, still progressing pretty well. I'm sure within the month or so I'll be adding the frogs once the tank has fully acclimated and there's no more fungus lying about. Until then, just stay tuned and I'll keep you posted. Thanks for watching the video, and you guys have a great day. Bye.